Hello, my name is Amanda Straits. I am the manager of strategic doing here at Valley Leadership. And in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month, I am being joined by Dr. Dani Portillo, the superintendent of Roosevelt Elementary School District. Dani is also a graduate of Valley Leadership's Class 1, Catalyze Class 1, and Explore Class 1. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
So at Valley Leadership, we like to start off our conversations by connecting with our core values, or what we call our principles of doing. So I wanted to start off by asking you which principle of doing is resonating with you today.
Well, I was torn in selecting them because they speak to me in so many different ways. One of the ones I wanted to mention is integrity. And the definition that Valley Leadership uses for integrity is so unique. Assuming what everybody else knows integrity is really doing what you say you're going to do, right? Doing what you're all about. But also in Valley Leadership's definition, it really is about having the integrity and the I guess being rooted in yourself and understanding what are your strengths, but also what might be your own biases. And I'm consistently doing that, checking myself and my own biases to ensure that I am being open to the perspective of others. So I think that's one that resonates daily with the work that I do. But the one I wanted to emphasize more is being driven to do. So there's so many things that we need to do to support our communities. And though we want to make sure that we're being intentional and planning for that and making decisions that, of course, are responsible, we also can't pontificate so long and always be waiting for the plan to be perfect. We just got to figure out what can we do now with what we have, with the resources that we currently have, the amount of training that we currently have. What can we do at this point, rather than waiting for the circumstances to be perfect and or waiting for someone else to go first? So yeah, the principles of doing all resonate, but driven to do is probably the one that guides me the most at this point. And also in being a model for that for our teams, that we do have to take some risks, though we want them to be measured and of course responsible. We just got to go and then get better.
I love that. As the manager of strategic doing here at Valley Leadership, I think that's the one that resonates with me most as well. And ensuring that kind of the work we're doing is really focused on outcomes.
Yeah,
as well.
One of my colleagues always says, I am the catalyst of change. So yeah, that's the genesis of change. I am the genesis of change, and it really starts with yourself. What can I do to make the situation better?
So let's talk a little bit about Roosevelt School District. I have kind of a few stats about the school district, which was established in 1912, and I know it represents much of the South Phoenix region. Currently serves more than 7,500 students with 1,200 employees in 18 schools. So tell me a little bit just about what your transition into the superintendent position has been like so far, and what are your plans for the RSD community?
Yeah, so I've been very blessed. I followed a great leader, also a VL alum, Dr. Boyce. So I was able to work with him before that and be part of the team. So I had the great opportunity to be a part of creating the strategic plan that we're currently engaged in now, which means that the transition was fairly smooth. I also have a phenomenal executive team that we were all connected either here at the district or in other ways already. And my board is very strong. So I'm very blessed in that sense. Our principals are very strong as well. So it's been a very smooth transition. And also we knew the general path that we were on beforehand. So while at the beginning we were stabilizing and then also bringing in some innovation, right now I would say that we are really on this path for outcomes and really seeing what can we change and how can we measure that those efforts that we're doing that we're creating a big systemic change, right? And that's not always easy for everyone. So how can we measure that those results are actually supporting what we said we wanted to do in the first place? How are we focused on outcomes, and have being flexible in how we get there, but really in the end, what we're doing has to generate change for our community and for the students we serve.
So speaking of the student population at RSD is over 80% Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
How does that impact how you serve in your role?
Yeah. So I'm very respectful to the history of the community, and the community hasn't always been so predominantly Latino. So I also ensure that I'm consistently reaching out, again, checking my own biases, but reaching out to other community members, to the faith organizations here in our community, and also to our African-American organizations and residents in our community. I do think that recognizing that we have so many Hispanic families. Many of our partners also are focused on serving the Hispanic community. While elevating the entire community, I consistently say that we're here for everyone in this community. They do have oftentimes more bilingual staff, and also create activity and action that might resonate more so with our Latino community. So definitely, being that I am Latina and also an immigrant, I have a certain lens that I look through, which is a great strength and asset to our district. And also I have to make sure that I maintain open arms and an open viewpoint to support everyone.
On a broader note, how does educational attainment impact positive outcomes for the Hispanic Latino population in your district and then in Arizona more broadly?
So sure, when we think about educational attainment, we know that there's often a correlation between that and earning power, right? So we know that the educational attainment of our, for example, if we think about our employee group, knowing that we're the largest employer in South Phoenix, the more opportunities and systems that we can create within our district for our employees to be able to grow and their education and to grow their training and their skill set, then we know that will benefit our district directly, right? But also, should they, after we've trained them, go and work for the private sector, knowing that the majority of our employees also live here in South Phoenix, it still continues to create a great economic impact, which in turn subsequently does support our district. So we're constantly engaged in trying to figure out how can we create systems that are affordable for our employees to be able to raise their own attainment. When we think about our families that we're serving and the community at large that we're serving, it's the same concept. The more that we can support them in their educational attainment, being a formal certificate and or for example, our community college partner that's here and our university partners that we have well, our community college partner is South Mountains Community College is what we refer to it as, South Mountain Community College, and then also the state universities. We know that there's that formal path, right? And there's also other education that we can provide our community when it comes to supporting them with establishing their own businesses, and or how do they support their families? How do they transition to the American system of education? There's a lot that we can do to support them, but we know that when we are intentional about naming that there's a lot of us, and if we start shopping and doing our business here in South Phoenix, that can raise everybody. We also know that as Roosevelt School District is successful because we have so much reach, that our success directly impacts the property values of those that reside in our community. So we're very aware of our economic impact. And knowing that we have so many Hispanic employees and community members, the academic or educational attainment of our Latino community also greatly impacts South Phoenix. And I've named that and speak to it. Even in our convocation, we spoke about the importance of us living by our values and reaching our mission and our vision, and how that will support for generations the leadership that'll come through here in South Phoenix.
So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but can you expand maybe on what exactly Roosevelt School District is doing to ensure that the majority Hispanic Latino population has equal access to opportunities and education outcomes?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do is that we have began tracking all of our student outcomes and performance outcomes. So student and adult outcomes. And as we are tracking that and monitoring it regularly, we are also breaking that out by demographic group, right? So ensuring that the totality is moving forward, but also that we're reaching the different demographic groups. And when we haven't, asking questions of our system. And then also even from our board, our board is engaged in outcomes-driven governance, right? So they're asking us questions, and I'm asking questions of us as a system as to what is it that we need to change in order to accelerate the closing of that gap in performance and outcomes. So I believe that looking at the outcomes regularly, monitoring them, asking those questions, and in itself increases performance. But then asking the right questions and then aligning the system so that all of our resources are also aligned in what is it that we want to achieve is also something that's greatly benefiting our students and our community as a whole.
So how can we, people outside of the school district, individuals, parents who are connected to the school district, community leaders, continue to better support schools to increase educational attainment goals?
There's so many ways. There's a myriad of ways. I would say that listening to the school districts, in particular here in Roosevelt School District, again, I've just had so many blessings here with our partners. But when a partner listens to the organization, the goals that the organization has set, the vision of the organization, and then is also engaged in following us as we monitor our outcomes. Our outcomes monitoring plan is going to be public on our website. So they can also follow how are we doing and are we reaching our outcomes. When they listen and ask the right questions as well, it feels very supportive. It feels that that it's not imposing. And also it respects the work that we're currently engaging in, right? So I would say that any community partner that's out there, regardless of the district that you're working with, it's important to offer your help in alignment with what that district is trying to accomplish. Oftentimes, very well-intended supports sometimes might place us in a situation where we don't want to say no and damage the relationship, but it could also be distracting. So what I have been blessed with is having partners that come in and they listen, they offer perspective, which also helps us to grow. And they also align their support systems with the plans that we have in place, while also informing those plans. So, our strategic plan should evolve into the next 5 years strategic plan. So they offer that technical support, they offer physical support, moral support, financial support, but they offer support again in alignment in what we're trying to accomplish. And they find they're great also at connecting us with other organizations that might be able to fill gaps. And they won't know what those gaps are unless they take a moment to pause and listen and look at the whole picture, right? One other thing that helps us to completely and totally engage with those partners that have offered help is when they speak highly of the community that we've chosen to dedicate ourselves to. Right? We understand that our community has needs, but when those organizations also recognize the strengths, and that's also something that I value about Valley leadership, is that it's strengths-based. And when they recognize the strengths that our our community here in South Phoenix, our Latino community and our African American community, the strengths that we bring to creating a better and stronger South Phoenix, the more open and trusting that the community becomes in receiving that assistance and that support.
To kind of add on to that a little bit, or maybe expand upon it, how can we also better nurture up and coming Hispanic and Latino leaders, whether it's in South Phoenix or in the state more broadly?
I think it's important that Valley leadership continue to elevate those of us that are already wanting to lead and are leading. And when younger leaders are able to see themselves represented in a group such as Valley leadership, then the more likely they are to continue that leadership path, right? They don't necessarily need to be like us, but they see that it's not such an anomaly. So when organizations like Valley leadership look for, not only wait for, but look for and elicit membership from minority communities, minority majority communities in some cases, right? But when they're intentional about reaching out to and recruiting through our networks and other existing networks, it feels more authentic, and it also feels like again, like it's not such an anomaly, and it's not a checkbox that the organization wants to make sure that they attend to, right? It's really part of Valley leadership's work to serve, and understanding that there's strengths and leaders within all of these communities that already exist helps us to step forward again with that level of trust and being open to everything that we can learn from Valley leadership, and then also the networks that we can leverage for us to support, and then also to receive support from other leaders that may not look like us.
That's wonderful. Thank you. So to add on, what advice would you give up and coming Latino and Hispanic leaders who are trying to make a difference in their community?
Sure. So, for example, my area is education, right? That's what I've studied. That's what, being a teacher and then a principal and a district leader, that's my lane. But our community greatly will benefit from educators, but they'll greatly benefit from all kinds of other fields of study. So whatever their area of whatever their calling is, that they really develop and nurture that, right? If they are really into some kind of a culinary art, that they leverage that to maybe through that interest and through their leadership, bring more nutritious and healthy food varieties to their community. If, for example, they are into fitness, that they leverage that, and that they do things that fulfill them to benefit the community. So, for example, in that fitness, what if they partnered up with some other agencies that are already looking to reach out to communities like ours when it comes to health initiatives? So really, my advice would be that they look deep into what motivates them, what is of special interest to them, and how might they be able to continuously nurture that, build networks around that, so that they are excited about their contribution. And really that they learn about other contributions that other people could make within their circle, so that they continuously then encourage those that are around them to leverage their interest and their strengths, their calling, to make our community together, every one of us putting our granito de arena, right? Our little grain of sand to create this beach that we're trying to create. But we don't need to do it all. Oftentimes being aware of your own strengths, what you can do. And then, like I said, getting everyone around you excited about what can they do. And it really should fulfill you. in order for you to be strong for your community, you need to be strong in yourself. And it's hard work. So doing something to help the community that is exciting to you will keep you wanting to continue to do more.
I love that. I think that's always great to explore your passion and find your strengths. And we're definitely glad that you have found your passion in education and are helping shape the next generation of Arizona leaders.
And you know what? Sorry, just to
Go ahead.
expand on that, it really is my passion, and it is hard work. And people say, well, when you find something that you love, it's not really work to you. I would say it is work, and there's hard days too. There's hard days, and that's the reality. There's days that I go home much more fulfilled than others. And that's normal, and it's okay that every day isn't going to be, just because you choose your passion doesn't mean that every day is going to be just as exciting. But in general, the overall balance should be that you're moving forward in something that's fulfilling and passionate to you.
That's great. Thanks. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, well, what I would like to say to Latino leaders and those that are wanting to support Latino communities is that it's really important that we have a sense of pride in who we are. So when we are able to be proud in our own national origin, for me, it's being Honduran, right? The more that I learn about Honduran people that live in Honduras and that live here in Arizona, the more proud that I become. And when you're proud about your roots, you're able to grow to be a stronger person, similar to a tree, right? And that's one of the symbolisms that we use here in South Phoenix. One of our values is the value of rootedness, and helping our students to feel incredibly proud of where they're from originally and where they are from now. And we want them to grow and have experiences outside of South Phoenix, but also feel such strength here that they want to come back and contribute and help. So that's what I would like to add, is that we all should be proud of where we're from, whether you're Latino or not. And knowing some of the bias that's out there in the media and some stereotypes that people have, we have to sometimes fight to find what we're proud of when it comes to our community. And when I say we, I mean the entire community. We need to profess that. We need to profess those strengths that we have, so that we're combating those negative images, negative messages, and not believing that hype, right? Or allowing our students to believe that hype about us. We're strong people. We are here to contribute to Arizona and the country as a whole, I would say, and contribute to making our valley stronger than what it currently is.
That's great. Yes. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today in kind of discussing the importance of education and supporting Arizona's Hispanic and Latino children, and the importance of your community here to the Valley and to the state overall. And thanks to those joining this conversation. If you want to learn more about Valley Leadership, you can visit our website at valleyleadership.org. Thank you.
Thank you.